Hi traders, Alan from AmazingEA.wordpress.com. I just wanted to take you through the new features in AmazingEA 9. So the big difference with version 9 is that we can now use a spreadsheet like this to preset all our trading parameters for any trades that are coming out. And that way, that's really useful for busy people who can't always remember to set up trades or can't always be looking at the computer when a news event comes out. So I'll take you through how you set it up and what to watch out for and what not to do. Okay, so the first thing I should go through is the parameters that you need to actually get it working in the first place. So I'm going to drop AmazingEA on the chart, and the way the spreadsheet settings work is they still need to work in conjunction with auto trade news. So you still need to get the news events from Forex Factory. So that means that this setting, auto trade news, has to be on. Then you've got to decide your impact, whether you're only going to trade high impact news events. Now these two next settings are now not so important. So filter by currency used to restrict the news events that are picked up to just the ones that are relevant for that currency pair. So if I've got Euro USD on the chart, so it'd only pick up Euro events and US events. Now that's not so important because we can set settings in the spreadsheet to make that decision. Okay, so the next thing is exclude speeches, and again this would actually filter the events coming up on the news calendar to exclude anything with the word speaks in it. So whether that's true or false, again, it's not so important now. So I'll go through why it's not so important in a minute. Okay, so there are a couple of new settings here. So one is read settings, which tells you whether you want to load the settings from a file or just use what's actually being set up on this settings portion up here. So if you say true, then you're going to get the settings from the spreadsheet. And this is the name of the spreadsheet, AmazingEA settings. Okay, so let's go and find that sheet now. So if we do File, Open Data Folder, and then we go into MQL4 Files, we've got two files here. Now the EA actually uses the .csv file, and if I open that, see it's not that user friendly to edit. So what I did was supplied an Excel spreadsheet, which is this guy here. Now I've already got that open down in Excel. Okay, now you can see that's a lot easier to make changes to. And in fact, you can copy, if you want to change one setting and then copy it to all the other ones. That's very easy to do as well. So what I've done with the settings on this spreadsheet is I used to have some very customized settings, but some of them were a little bit wacky. So basically I've gone through this and I've pretty much standardized all the settings except for things like points away, which I've kept the various different settings in the points away section, and same with SL. But most of the other settings are standard. Now the events that I think are moving the market at the moment, I've left set to allow buys true, allow sells true, and the other ones I've set to false. So if I just show you the false ones, so we're talking about a couple of Swiss franc things. CAD Ivy PMI is not even a high impact event anymore. Aussie building approvals, that kind of stuff. It's not so market moving right now. So I've set those items to false. And that means the EA will pick them up, display them, but it won't actually trade them. Okay, so let's have a look at how the EA tells you what it's going to do. So, for example, here we've got GBP, second estimate GDP. Okay, so now a very important thing is that the EA now will trade anything on any chart. So although I've got a Euro chart here, this news event is obviously only relevant for the Great British Pound, and you've got GBP, second estimate GDP, you've got the setting symbol. So this last line now is telling me read settings true means that it's going to get the settings for the event from the spreadsheet. The line that it's looking at in the sheet is line 44. So when I say line 44, I'm actually talking about, I'm not talking about the heading. The header lines doesn't count. So it's actually 45 in here. That's the 45th entry. Sorry, 44th entry. So here we've got GBP, second estimate GDP. And the fact that the EA is saying 44 here means that it successfully found that entry in the spreadsheet. And so the two things that it needs to use is the country has to be the same, and also the title has to be exactly the same. So if you put in a new entry for something that's not in the spreadsheet, you need to make sure that the news title is exactly what it shows on Forex Factory, and then the EA will find it. So line 44, so if you have a look at some of the settings here, so for example, points away is set to 100. Now on the standard EA, it's set up as 80 by default. So you see it's picked up points away 100. Okay. So in other words, all these other entries here have been picked up and loaded into the EA for everything on that line. And allow buys true, and allow sells true. So the way I would play this is that at the beginning of the week, I would go through looking at all the events and deciding which ones I want the EA to trade. Okay, then what I'd do is I'd go and change allow buys and allow sells to true or false for those events that are coming up, depending on whether you want to trade them. Then once you've done that, then filter this to only show allow buys and sells true, and then go through editing the settings for the ones that are coming up to whatever settings you're happy with. And the advantage, obviously, of using the spreadsheet is that you'll have consistency, because previously, if you set it up every time, you'd have to keep a note of what you set up last time. Did it work? Did it not work? So now you've got the opportunity to just decide, okay, I'm going to set it up according to what's in the spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet is going to keep track of the settings that I used before. And then you can look in your MetaTrader history to see whether those settings worked for you, whether you need to make any changes. So the last thing I'm going to say is that I would advise not to add any other entries or any other information to the right here, because that might screw up the way that EA loads the file. So don't change any other columns in here. If you're going to keep notes about stuff, maybe just even make a new sheet here, and then just copy the list of trades onto the new sheet and make some notes there. This sheet's got to stay pristine. Right, so now what you want to do, if you want to save the stuff that you put in here into the CSV file, you do File, Save As, click the folder, and instead of saving as an Excel workbook, you change it to comma-delimited.csv. Say save. Okay, and then Excel will say some features in your workbook might be lost if you save it as CSV. Do you want to keep using that format? Well, you have to say yes, because you actually want it to save as .csv. Okay, and then you just come out of it. You don't necessarily have to save it again because you've already saved it. Okay,